Let me. Is that? Yeah. How about that? Probably not going to get them far enough apart. Okay. You know what, you can pin my video so it stays there.
All right, Brad. All right.
Is it going to stream live on the website?
It should be going now.
Okay. Set, are you ready? So you want me to turn this one on? No, I mean like this microphone. So, or turn Zoom.
I think you pick it there.
Okay.
You just talk to it.
Okay.
We'll call this meeting to order.
Okay. Sheriff's not here, so we're in session.
He's not going to be here.
Yeah. So, I can't remember. Terry, do you remember it all? It's like, oh, yes, this week. All right, we're gonna pretend like the sheriff was here and he did the greeting. I know it starts, oh, yes, oh, yes.
Yes.
Whatever comes after that is what we're imagining. Yeah. Speak now, forever hold your peace, something like that. All right, so we're declared open. Let's bow our heads and pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this evening and for this time together. Lord, as a nation, as a state, as a county, we pray for your guidance and wisdom, Lord, as there are so many uncertainties and we feel the ground shift below our feet so frequently. Lord, we pray for those that are in the hospital and those that are struggling with COVID, but also the many others that are affected by everything that's going on. Lord, we pray especially for the residents in the nursing home that have borne the brunt of this virus so heavily, Lord. We lift them up. We also, Lord, lift up our sheriff's department, our firefighters, our first responders, Lord, our our healthcare professionals, Lord, all those who are on the front lines of facing this disease, Lord. We think of our jailers tonight, oh Lord, and lift them up to you as well. Lord, the many others that are affected in so many countless ways. Lord, we pray for your blessings economically, financially, Lord, as we journey through these days, and so many families are struggling with lost income and lost jobs. Lord, we lift them up to you. Lord, we pray that you would give us patience and peace, that as we try to address the many questions we face, not just as a commission, but as a state, a nation, and a world, that you'll give us guidance and wisdom beyond our own. Bless us tonight as we meet. It's in your precious name that we pray. Amen. All right.
Let's face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's check our roll.
All right, roll call. Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Gamenden.
Here.
Commissioner Hinton. Here. See if that's better. Commissioner Driver.
Here.
Commissioner Driver's here. Commissioner Graves. Here. Commissioner Foster.
Here.
Commissioner Shell. Commissioner.
You turn the TV down a little bit, babe.
Commissioner Ring.
Here.
Commissioner Sullivan.
He's not going to be here tonight, Mr. Kemp.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Present.
Commissioner Tinsley.
Present.
Commissioner Eccles.
Here.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Here.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
Here.
Commissioner Becker.
Here.
Commissioner Chris Taylor. Commissioner Good.
Here.
Commissioner Kruger. Commissioner Kruger.
She's on here.
Commissioner Langford.
Here.
Commissioner Mansfield.
Present.
Commissioner Guthrie.
Here.
Commissioner Nipper.
Here.
All right, and Commissioner Kruger, are you present?
She's connecting to the audio. I think she's here.
Okay, she can type in as well, can't she, Thomas? You can chat in Commissioner Kruger under the bubble at the bottom. Does it show her?
She's on
All
the
right.
screen.
So Commissioner Kruger is here. We're just not having audio. So we have 23 members present, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, great. Your regular agenda is before you. Is there a motion to approve the regular and consent agendas? Motion to approve, Commissioner Shell. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Hinton. Yes, sir. Commissioner Taylor.
Go.
Can't hear him.
You can't hear him at all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's going to need to sit and speak into his mic.
I don't think those residents should receive a bill from the Sumner County Ambulance Service.
Yeah, your mic wasn't on. Can you start? I'm sorry.
Okay, in light of everything that's went on in Sumner County at the Gallatin Nursing Home, I don't think that those residents should receive a bill from the Sumner County Ambulance Service. It's called them EMS. Because they didn't choose to be in the situation they were in. I don't think they probably did anything personally themselves. So I understand you have to bill somebody. But I spoke to the director, and he said that with this body's direction, they can bill whoever we see fit. But think about it. I mean, most of these are probably Medicare, Medicaid, a lot of them, not all of them. There's private pay, which means it's coming out of your family's pocket. So in light of everything that's went on, I move that we not directly bill the patients, and the leadership, whoever made the decision to do what was done, can execute the bills wherever they see fit.
And before we do anything, Mr. Chairman, before the attorney breaks in, I've got to read this notice that I did not break in. So
Okay, we're gonna hold tight. We're gonna come back to that, Mr. Taylor, in just a second. Mr. Campbell
Yep.
needs to read something, and then we're gonna come back to your motion.
The Sumner County Commission meeting is being held pursuant to numerous executive orders issued by Governor Lee, which allows for meetings to be held by electronic means. The agenda has been posted full online on the county website, and citizens were asked to submit comments by email. Any comments received were forwarded to all commission members prior to the meeting. A recording of this meeting will be posted on the county website within the statutory timeframe.
Okay. Back to Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Taylor, if I understand your motion is to, I guess, add an agenda to, or add an item to the agenda to not bill the nursing home residents individually for the transportation to and from.
Yes, sir.
From the nursing home to the hospital.
Yeah, yes, sir. Because
sure.
I mean,
can I make a comment to that, please?
The facility, whoever.
Sure.
I mean.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Mo Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Mansfield. Okay, Ms. Denton.
The way that this electronic meeting is set up, everything that we are to discuss tonight was to be on the agenda. This item is not on the agenda. It would need to come through our May process.
Okay. So I think what she's saying is that we can only address items that are on the agenda. So I think, Mr. Taylor, what I would recommend is that we send that to budget, we address it in May. That's fine with me.
Send bills from the emergency medical service, but I've had procedures done and I got a bill before I got the results back. So.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident we can talk to our MS crew and try to work something out for the patients.
That's fine with me if it put it on the May budget.
Okay. I'm gonna Commissioner Chris Taylor, he'll take care of that, and I feel confident. We can ask our, we're gonna have a report a little bit later. We can definitely clarify that there too. Okay. So we got a consent agenda motion made and seconded. See no one else in the queue? Yep.
All in favor?
Roll call. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Got on a roll there.
All right. Motion is to approve the agenda. Commissioner Mo Taylor? Yes. Commissioner Wright? Yes. Commissioner Gominden?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton? Commissioner Driver? Commissioner Driver? Commissioner Driver votes aye. Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Shell? Yes. Commissioner Ring?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley?
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde? Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker? Commissioner Becker, did you vote yes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor? Yes. Commissioner Good? Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger. Commissioner Kruger, you can type in your response anytime during this vote take. Commissioner Langford,
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield, Commissioner Guthrie. Commissioner Guthrie.
See him.
And any commissioner who, if you want to type in your response down under the bubble, you can do that as well. If you're having a hard time with audio. I saw Commissioner Guthrie, you might be muted. Commissioner Nipper.
Yes.
Okay. So, and Kruger is a, all right, so we have 23 members approved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right,
All right, your minutes are in your packet. Is there a motion to approve our minutes? No move. By Commissioner Shell, second by Commissioner Mansfield. Let's roll call the minutes. This is like old school.
Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Gomendon.
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
Yes.
Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell. Commissioner Ring.
Yes.
Commissioner Sullivan. Excuse me, Commissioner DeWitt. Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley. Commissioner Tinsley.
He said yes.
All right. Commissioner Eccles.
Yes.
Commissioner Rose.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker. Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor. Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger.
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. Commissioner Langford.
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield. Commissioner Guthrie. Commissioner Nipper.
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Graves not voting.
Yes.
You voted yes. Good. And Commissioner Guthrie.
He voted yes in chat, didn't he?
He's a yes.
All right. So we have 23 approval of the minutes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Camp.
We
We
had
had one public comment
that
that was forwarded to us. I think we all saw that in the email. It'll be included in the record of the minutes for next month. Yes, Mr. Mansfield. Sure. Let me see. Here we go. I've got it right here. This email comes from Stephen Morkin. I will read it out loud for the minutes.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello all. I wanted to share my thoughts on one of the proposed resolutions facing the county commission tomorrow night. Specifically, resolution 2004-03. Why does the salaried employees of EMS and EMA need money for overtime when they are salaried individuals? If the money was for hourly frontline EMS and EMA individuals, then I could get behind it and support it. But I cannot support those individuals who have stayed in their offices doing their jobs and not getting in on the front line of this COVID epidemic bonus doing their jobs. You do not hear frontline EMS workers asking for or demanding hazard pay. You do not hear frontline employees complaining about having to face this epidemic head on. You don't hear them because they're too busy doing their job. The job they do at the hourly rate they accept as a job pool. Why can't salaried employees in the same department do their job at the salary they agree to? Why do they deserve the money? What do they sacrifice that their employees have? They already get fringe benefits, county vehicles, county credit cards, 40-hour work weeks, when their employees work 60 hours for what they have to pay. Why do they deserve it? The short answer is they don't. Their employees do. Those who are actually on the front line working the ambulances, going to the calls, taking care of the sick patients. People in Ivory Tower don't deserve it. Thanks, Stephen Morgan. All right,
All right, that concludes public comments.
And we'll
And we'll go to
report
report of the chair. Your veteran service report is attached.
And
Always there a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor, second by Commissioner Shell. Sorry, y'all, I forgot to watch Zoom. If you'd like to make a motion or second, if you just raise your hand. I've got you all in gallery. I'll try to be a little bit more inclusive. Otherwise, it's going to be left side or right side. So I apologize. Okay, motion's been made, properly seconded to approve the regular consent agenda. I see no one in the queue. Let's roll call.
Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Gominden.
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
Yes.
Commissioner Graves.
Yes.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell. Commissioner Ring.
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley.
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor. Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger.
Yes.
Commissioner Langford.
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield. Commissioner Guthrie.
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper.
Yes.
23 votes in favor, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, sir. I'm gonna jump now. I should have done this under my report, but we're gonna jump to
Mr. Widener
and Chief Miller, and they're gonna give us a report. I wonder if we can find a way to crank up the volume a little bit so we can hear. Y'all can go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners. So late February.
Hey, I'm sorry, Mr. Ryder, hang on one second. We're trying to get some more volume. Okay, go ahead.
Test 1, 2, can you hear me?
Let's just go ahead. If it echoes a little bit, that'll be fine. Just push that microphone down closer. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Ryder.
Chairman.
We're good.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners. So in late February, we began the information gathering phase of COVID-19. We got a lot of information from the Tennessee Department of Health, from TEMA, and from news outlets. So early March, we had a series of meetings with both of our hospitals, with EMS, with law enforcement across the county, with fire service, public health, and TEMA. On March 19th, we established unified command at the emergency services complex. We operate under 5 operational levels, 5 being normal, down through 1. We immediately went to an operational level 4, which is elevated, or a state of emergency. On March 23rd, we actually changed over to an operational level 3, which is a state of emergency, and it's a serious situation. We established COVID-19 contact groups with hospitals, public safety, and other healthcare facilities across the county, as well as state agencies. We held daily conference calls down to weekly conference calls, and we would send out sit reps with situation reports. Currently, we are evaluating, we've gone through a lot since then, but we're evaluating our current status, our preparedness level, and our needs. And we've done that all along the process. And what you've got to understand about when we talk about our needs, we're talking a lot about PPE, about the equipment that our personnel wears, firefighters wear, police officers wear. The problem we've run into is 95 counties in the state are trying to get that same equipment, and 50 states across the nation are trying to get that same equipment. And now citizens are trying to get masks because so it's really taken away from the PPE that we can get in. Everything we're doing is fluid in regards to planning as the situation plays out and as it continues to play out. Currently, EMA is established as the point of distribution for PPE for hospitals, healthcare facilities, and public safety in Sumner County. Currently, day to day, what we're doing right now is we do PPE requisitions and PPE distribution as it comes in from the state, and we're monitoring the situation. Current numbers statewide, 7,238 cases, 3,575 have recovered, 152 deaths statewide. Sumner County's numbers as of today are 502 confirmed cases, that's third in the state, and 31 deaths, and that's first in the state. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Yes. As Ken said, we opened the incident command post at March 19th. We worked around the clock for several days. We worked with county officials on the 20th of March, and we secured 20 hotel rooms for a period of 30 days for our EMS and Sheriff's Department employees if they had to quarantine. We've hauled several hundred possible COVID-19 patients. March 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th, we transported 174 patients from the Gallatin Center for Rehabilitation to the hospital, to several hospitals. Then they cleaned the facility and the state ordered the patients to go back. So beginning April 1st, we began slowly taking all those residents back to the facility, us and several more. This was a very large undertaking. Sunday night in particular, there were 54 ambulances here and 2 ambuses from across the mid-state that had to help and assist with this process. Also, over the last 30 days, 30 EMS employees at some point in time or another have become symptomatic. They were removed from service, they were tested, they were quarantined. There was a lag in response of the test initially. So sometimes we had to wait in upwards of 72 hours or longer to get test results back. So many of those remained at the hotel so as to not infect their loved ones at home, their small children or their elderly parents that might be living with them. During those times, we kept them quarantined in the hotel. We didn't want their family to be exposed, so we took care of them. We carried them 3 meals a day. We communicated with them routinely. We made sure we checked on them. We got a temperature check with them 3 times a day. And luckily, as I sit here now, out of all of the hundreds of patients that we've carried, only 2 of our EMS employees ever were tested positive for COVID-19. Those 2 employees have both fully recovered, and I'm glad to say they're back to work, taking care of the citizenry in this great county. We thank you all for your support and the many phone calls and texts that we've had of encouragement during these past 30 days, and that's the end of the EMS report.
And just let me say on behalf of the commission that I can't, or at least on my behalf, I can't thank you enough for the work that you 2 have done. You know, we see it on your face when you've been on TV. You see it every day with the love and concern and compassion you have for the citizens of Sumner County, whether we're taking care of our own, our paramedics and our first responders, or whether it's the folks that are being transported from the nursing home back and forth. You just exemplify to me what Sumner County is about, and I can't thank you enough. So please accept my deepest and most heartfelt gratitude for the work that y'all have done. You do it always, but especially over the last month. I really feel like Sumner County has risen to the top. You know, when you hear about the shortages of equipment and everything in other parts of the country, and we, you know, in spite of taking a tough shot right at the first, and suddenly y'all have just done an outstanding job of making sure that our folks are safe, that they have everything they need. And having been a part of a few of the calls, just the way it's reassuring and calming to see the professionalism that everything's done and taken care of in Sumner County. So thank y'all for your care, your concern, your professionalism, and your devotion to the craft, and most importantly, to taking care of the folks in Sumner County. So thank you very much. All right. Your written reports are on the desk. Notaries. Is there a motion to approve our notaries? Motion made by Commissioner Mo Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Mansfield. Let's roll call.
Commissioner Mo Taylor, Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Gaminden,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton, Commissioner Driver,
Yes.
Commissioner Graves,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell, Commissioner Ring,
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley,
Yeah.
Commissioner Eccles,
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde, Commissioner Hyde abstains, Commissioner Tucker,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor, Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger,
Yes.
Commissioner Langford,
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield, Commissioner Guthrie,
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper.
Yes,
Yes.
Notaries are approved, Mr. Chairman, with 22 affirmative votes.
Good, thank you, Mr. Kemp. All right, we'll go down to our committee on committees. Mr. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Echo your sentiments to EMS and Ken and all those guys. Everybody on here does. We did not have a regular scheduled meeting tonight due to the situation, but the county executive did ask us just to conduct the county mayor, I apologize, normal business today. So for a time-sensitive board, it is the Board of Equalization. Their 2-year appointment recommendations, reappointment of James Ramsey, Michelle Haynes, Philip Bradshaw, and Al Bennett, and I so move.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner DeWitt. I see no one in the queue. I kind of feel like I'm flying a plane. I've got a whole bunch of screens to look at. I see no one else in the queue. Let's vote.
Commissioner Taylor, Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Gaminden.
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
Yes.
Commissioner Graves.
Yes.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell.
Yes.
Commissioner Ring.
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley.
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor. Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger.
Yes.
Commissioner Langford.
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield. Commissioner Guthrie.
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper.
Yes. Yes, sir.
21 affirmative votes. They are elected, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Good. Do you have anything else? Right over there. You're right here.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, anyone has looked at the agenda, item, that says no recommendation, Jonathan Hayes. That's the city of Hendersonville representative. I spoke with the mayor today. The reason they were late on that is because BOMA has not voted on it yet. They're going to vote on it in their upcoming meeting. We'll deal with it next month. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Good. So basically, if you couldn't hear that, basically what Mr. Good said, the last one for Jonathan Hayes is the city of Hendersonville appointment. They are going to vote at their upcoming BOMA meeting, and they'll have it to us next month for replacement or for recommendation for Mr. Hayes. Mr. Good, are y'all planning on having a regular meeting next month?
Well, it's going to be based on what our law director recommends, along with the state recommendations.
Okay.
I would encourage, I think one thing we need to do just for communication is if we can get in pretty short order, if we can get all the committee chairs to contact Mr. Kemp, so we can go ahead and get his regular calendar out so that everybody can know when the meetings are and how they're going to be. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to be back somewhat to normal in terms of commission meetings as for this month. Only time will tell now in the next few weeks how that's going to go. But if y'all can committee chairs, so I don't have to go through and ask each one, if you can communicate in the next day or so with Mr. Kemp what your plans are, so we can get a calendar out so everybody know when and how we're meeting. And I understand there'll be a little bit of change just based on the one thing we all know is the ground will ship in next week or so. We'll do the best we can to communicate. Okay. Education. Who's our education vice chair? That meeting was canceled. Who's our education vice chair? Okay, no report. Highway Commission. Mr. Henry.
Month, we'll meet in this room, and that'll allow us to have more area to get away from each other. And so we'll just do that in here and spread out by like we are tonight, and that'll settle that.
Regular time.
Regular time.
Okay. All right.
General Ops, Michelle.
No report. We will determine meeting for next month. I'll make that decision within the next couple of days. I'll get with the law director. I don't want to meet just to meet, but if there is something pressing that needs to be put on the agenda, then I'll get with Ms. Denning and we'll decide that. And we will probably meet in here as well, just because I don't have very good internet service.
I think it's probably let's just go ahead and make the call for May. Everybody meets in here. I think that'll be the easiest way to communicate. And it gives us, we don't have to move things around as things change. We know this is the biggest room we have, so I think that'll be the best for us to do all our committee meetings in here. Okay. Emergency services. Ms. Kruger.
No report. I think Ken and Greg did a great job of updating everyone as far as what's been going on. The Sheriff's Department does, only thing that's probably not covered, and they do have 4 of their staff quarantined currently, and then I believe there's 2 more as of today that have become symptomatic outside of those. I say 4 quarantined in the hotel. I apologize. They actually have, I think, 12, maybe more than that, quarantined. Some are at home though.
Okay.
So other than that, and echo what everyone has said, just so grateful for all the work they've done, everything the work they've put in. It's been a task, and I'm grateful for their service.
Great.
Thank you, Ms. Kruger. So just if you couldn't hear what Ms. Kruger said, the Sheriff's Department has 4 staff, 4 employees quarantined in the hotel, 2 more symptomatic today, 12 total. I'm guessing Mr. Wright, I'm guessing most of those are over at the jail. That's where we're getting a lot of our ones that are in need of concerned care. So we want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers during this time. Appreciate the work of our Sheriff's Department, also especially thinking about our jailers right now. Okay. Mr. Rain, legislative.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have motion for resolution 2004-01, accepting review of the judicial magistrate program. And I so move.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Rain, 2004-01, accepting the review of the judicial magistrate program. Is there a second?
Second, Paul Good.
Second by Commissioner Good. All right.
I see no one in the queue. Let's vote.
Commissioner Mo Taylor. Yes. Commissioner Wright. Yes. Commissioner Gaminden.
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
Yes.
Commissioner Graves.
Yes.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell. Commissioner Ring.
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley.
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor. Yes. Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger.
She's a yes on chat.
Commissioner Langford.
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield. Commissioner Guthrie.
He's a yes on chat.
Commissioner Nipper.
Yes, sir.
23 affirmative votes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. Mr. Ring.
Yes, sir. Resolution 004-, appoint Daniel Tran as magistrate until the end of the term, December 2020, and I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Rain to appoint Daniel Tran as magistrate until the end of December 2020. Motion made by Commissioner Rain, seconded by Commissioner Rhodes. I see no one in the queue. Let's vote.
Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Gaminden.
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
Yes.
Commissioner Graves.
Yes.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell. Commissioner Rain.
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley.
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor. Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger. Tiffany, respond.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger votes yes. Commissioner Langford.
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield. Commissioner Guthrie.
He's a yes on chat.
Commissioner Nipper.
Yes, sir.
23 affirmative votes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Motion passes.
All right,
All right,
budget committee,
financial management, Mr. Becker.
We did not have a meeting this month, or we are planning on having a meeting next month. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Becker. I like your virtual background.
He's in the lobby.
I kept looking out there going, where did Mr. Becker go?
I can't see. Oh,
Very
very
nice.
nice.
Okay, Mr. Taylor. Chris Taylor.
I would just like to ask that Jared could maybe do an Aquaman background next time to go with the beard, but we'll leave it at that. For Budget Committee, real quick, we've had a couple different things that came up. Obviously, with the recession that we're in right now, it's going to impact our projections for what we've had for the upcoming budget year. And just to kind of catch people up to speed, what we're estimating, and I say estimating because David hasn't been able to come up with models yet and we don't have the hard numbers, is that for March, we're probably down about 50% for sales tax. We figure April will be worse. Based on our savings that we had and how well our collections are going and some other things, we should tentatively finish this fiscal year even. We would have been ahead, but obviously we're not going to now, but we should finish even. The next year, what we've done is, because we can't come up with specific models, but we know it's going to be recession numbers, no one necessarily can say how long. There's some people thinking a 6-month bounce back. There's some people thinking a year and a half. Regardless, we've asked all the department heads and elected officials to resubmit their budgets for next fiscal year as a zero budget. And what that entails is that they have the exact same numbers they had last year. If they had open positions, they can still hire for those open positions. We've asked them not to do any promotions unless it's approved by the Budget Committee. That we understand that there will be some differences in some of the insurance numbers based on employees electing family over single and some things that change like that. But for the most part, what we're expecting is everybody to come back with the exact same numbers they had last year. This committee, I want to compliment everybody on this commission and the Budget Committee over the past 5 years, the way y'all have voted and allowed us to budget. We have reserves in place for our general fund. We have reserves in place for our debt services and capital. And we have cash on hand. Right now, we have cash on hand that if we didn't collect another dime, we're good for payroll for 6 months for our employees. Right now, we have almost right at $30 million in reserves for our general fund. That's including the hospital fund, obviously, $9 million there. And we are upwards of almost $20 million for our debt and debt services. We expect to dip into reserves this year. There's no doubt about it. There's no way around that. This is a recession. But thankfully, because of the foresight of this committee and this commission and all of you that have voted for it, we're fine. There's several counties, Nashville's one, that are going to have to raise taxes. I heard Wilson County might, the city of Lebanon might. There's going to be a lot of municipalities across the country that have to. We will not have to. We are prepared and planned for a recession to happen at some point or another. Because of that, our county is in a great position in the sense that we have a built-up reserve that we're okay. we're good for at least 2 years reserves. Now, I want to caution all of us, anything we spend above is obviously coming out of reserves. So we don't want to do that any more than we have to. We do understand there's some things we're going to have to spend related to COVID expenses, relating to things breaking, other things happening over the next year or so. But I just caution all of us to bear in mind at any time that we're dipping into reserves each time. But again, those are reserves that we've built up over the past 5 years to prepare for this time. And I want to especially compliment Mr. Lawing and his staff in the finance department. They've done a fantastic job of making sure this county is as strong as it could be right now fiscally, and we're there. With that being said, we'll move forward with the budget agenda. And I'm sorry. Obviously, one more thing, I apologize. As it relates, statutorily, all the department heads and elected officials are allowed to still present their budget, and it can be requested. It can be completely different than what we're asking them to submit. So we are going to have that time. Right now, we initially had 2 dates in May that we were going to do budget. I think it was 11th and 18th. We're canceling those, obviously. There's no sense trying to have budget hearings when we know we're asking for 0. We're going to come up with new dates in June. And hopefully at that point, we're expecting that maybe we'll have some good models for sales and for our sales tax and some other things that we'll be able to kind of project a little bit further in maybe next 6 months out or 8 months out and have a better idea how things are going to look for us in general. And also, all the elected officials and department heads are allowed to present whatever requests they have. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to approve them. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come to y'all to get voted, but they have the right to do that, and so we're going to honor that right in June. With that being said, we'll begin now. 2004-03, this is an appropriation up to $100,000 for additional compensation and related benefit costs, including $18,650 for a total unassigned fund balance of extra compensation for the Emergency Management Agency and the Emergency Medical Service salaried employees. What this is Mr. Holt came to us, and if you're not aware, Mr. Widener and Chief Miller have been working nonstop since the tornado on March 2nd. They've also been amassing, on average, about between 80 and 90 hours a week. The first 5 days of the COVID, they stayed at the EMS facility, sleeping at night there, showering there, and having people bring them clothes. FEMA allows for salary employees in this situation to be compensated. The reason this is coming up is because we can be reimbursed for it. I'll be quite frank, I think everyone will understand that if we couldn't be reimbursed for it, we wouldn't be applying for it, again, because we're dipping into reserves. FEMA allows for us to apply for this for 75%, and then the state is planning on matching another 12.5%, so we will be responsible for about 11% of it. The reason the number of 100 was selected was they just had to have a number to say what the cap is, with the idea that we didn't know how long this would go on for. Again, when we're asking for this, it's to be done according to FEMA standards. So they define how much overtime, in the sense that salary employees can get, what that overtime is, when it starts, when it cuts off, and we'll completely go by the FEMA guidelines, because that way we can make sure whatever we do, we get reimbursed for. Again, these 2 men have done an amazing job. I think we all are aware of the hours they've put in, the time they've put in. But what Mr. Holtz asked us to do is to give them some compensation for it. That's allowed through the federal government, through FEMA, and that's what we're asking for. I so move.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Leslie Shell. Is there anyone in the queue? Commissioner Mo Taylor.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with the work and the hours and all that. It's just that I have this before me. And it's like you said, it's pretty much just a guesstimation. I need more than that. On the paperwork that was in here, it was like a breakdown of the cost, 50-something thousand on 2 different lines, 5,500 on lines for retirement. That's benefits, I understand, Social Security benefits, but you know, I think from some of the stuff that I've heard and read on FEMA that they're going to require detailed documentation for that. So why should we require any less? So I move to defer this back to the Budget Committee for next month.
Okay. Motion to defer made by Commissioner Mo Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Mansfield. Motion to defer is to send it back to budget. So So if you vote yes, it's to defer this back to budget. If you vote no, it's to continue this debate on the floor. Let's vote.
All right, motion to defer the resolution 03 of Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Govinden.
No.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
No.
Commissioner Graves.
Yes.
Commissioner Foster. Commissioner Foster.
No.
Commissioner Shell. Commissioner Ring.
No.
Commissioner DeWitt.
No.
Commissioner Tinsley.
No.
Commissioner Eccles.
No.
Commissioner Rhodes.
No.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
No.
Commissioner Tucker, can you repeat, please?
No.
No.
Commissioner Becker.
No.
Was that no?
Could you say it again, Mr. Becker? I'm sorry.
No.
No.
Commissioner Chris Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Good.
No.
Commissioner Kruger.
No, she's a no on the motion to defer.
Commissioner Langford.
No.
Commissioner Mansfield.
Yes.
Commissioner Guthrie.
He's a no.
Commissioner Nipper.
No, sir.
With 5 affirmative votes, motion to defer fails to carry.
Okay, we're back on the floor. Mr. Mansfield, Mr. Taylor, were you done with your motion? Sure. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Mansfield, you were next up in the queue.
Yes, sir.
It just taking into consideration, I guess, the public comment, just from actual, frontline workers not supporting this and talking to other frontline workers not supporting this. You have to ask the question that's been asked to me, are we opening kind of Pandora's box for other departments that are working overtime? I mean, there's a lot of people working overtime for this. I mean, myself, I worked 12 straight days for 12 hours of my job. I wasn't, expecting overtime either, but, I just think I don't understand the precedence. A salaried employee is kind of expected to be working. I mean, it's different than hourly, and so it's a little confusing to me. I understand that, I guess, the county's trying to chase grant dollars to try to meet a maximum and threshold. But definitely FEMA did have the guidelines. I think they emailed these all out to us for detailed records and time and costs associated with response actions. And, it's just not being able to see that accounting or exactly know what we're asking for. I would like to be able to see that before I'm able to support something like this because, again, there's a lot of deserving people in the county and other departments that are working overtime as well that I don't know if we haven't asked. I mean, I definitely appreciate the hard work that's going and echo the sentiments that you shared earlier, Mr. Chairman, but I have to ask the question, are we opening Pandora's box for other departments? Who's going to come asking next for this? So.
Mr. Mansfield, they've asked if I can kind of summarize what you said because you were going in about every first, second, third word. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I'm going to try to repeat a little bit. So if I miss anything, just tell me and I'll repeat it. Is that while you support the efforts of our EMS crew, Mr. Widener and Chief Miller, your concern is with the frontline workers and opening up Pandora's box for other departments that many folks are working overtime during this time. Is that?
That's the spirit. Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Becker, could you hear that? Okay, good. Okay, Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Chairman, I'm somewhat conflicted about this issue. First of all, let me say to Commissioner Taylor, great job serving in that capacity. We've been through difficult times like this. I know, I remember one commission where we went through a terrible recession without a tax increase and pulled it off. And we're having to look at working that hard, rolling our sleeves up and working that hard again. And I'm not saying that anyone is not deserving of this. I would like to have more information on it because we're talking about zero-based budgets and then building to where we were last year. My problem is this. I think we should even be talking about cutting as much as possible instead of adding anything because we don't know where we're going to be. And I agree with Commissioner Taylor that that it's great that we have 6 months of salary, but what after 6 months? Things could be very terrible after this is finished. And just like I said previously when we talked about taxes, we have many young couples, we have many disabled people, we have many elderly people, we have many people who cannot afford, just absolutely cannot afford another tax increase. They just can't do it. I have people now in my district that I know because I have talked with them who are struggling to put food on the table. They're out of work. There's no money. And it's not as easy. All of this government funded subsidies and help, it's so far not trickled down to these people that are in a hard way. So based on that, I would really like to have more information. I would hate to vote on something tonight, as worthy as this might be, and then find out that there are conditions, and I'd like to see it in black and white. Not that I'm not trusting Commissioner Taylor. I want to see in black and white from the government that we don't have to meet some threshold or some level to qualify for this funding. There are a lot of unanswered questions here. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm rather conflicted on this, and I really would like to have more information with citizens out there really not eating properly and are voting on something this big.
Thank you, Mr. Hott. So I'm going to do the same thing as Mr. Mansfield. The feedback is that they could hear you a little better, but I'm going to summarize. So if I miss anything, missed the gist of it, if you just correct me, then I'll say that as well. That basically navigated tough times and real tough recessions, rolled up our sleeves and worked together to get through it. That you're conflicted because you think it's a noble cause, but you need more information on it. That we really ought to consider cutting and not adding. That what do we do after 6 months if we expend the savings that we have now? That you've talked to the young couples, older people, older folks, disabled folks that are not in a position for another tax increase, and that you'd like to have more information, more black and white details before you can vote for this. Is that?
Good job.
Okay. I'm trying. Mr. Terry Wright, and then I think I had a question for Ms. Kruger for Commissioner Taylor.
I would like to see us hold off on a vote for this money right now until I have more in front of me. Have they done an awesome job? Yes. Just off the hook. But there's others out there that have also done an awesome job. I work with men and women every day, every single day, who are doing hazardous duty way before this virus ever showed its ugly head. Are they deserving of the extra money? They have put in a lot of long hours. But there again, They're not the only ones who have put in long hours. I just, right now, I just can't, I feel that we need to hold off on this.
Sure. Mr. Wright, I think let me summarize again that basically you work with a lot of people that our EMS and EMA folks have done a tremendous job. You work with a lot of others that every day that also do a bang up job and do hazardous pay. And you're just concerned about the information and getting specifics. Is that pretty good?
Pretty much it.
Okay. I actually heard you. So I think it's because you were right into the mic, so they heard you. So you may just, what we might want to do tonight is if you're making a comment or something, just stay seated and speak into the mic. I think that seems to help the broadcast a little bit. Okay, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman Taylor, we had two questions on the chat. Can Commissioner Chris Taylor, Budget Chair, elaborate on the funding for this, and is this part of the emergency declaration?
No, it's not part of the emergency declaration, and the funding for this would, the way FEMA works is like our frontline officers and EMS personnel out there right now, when they're working overtime, because it's been declared and FEMA kind of has an overview of it, what happens then is any overtime related to the incident itself, and there's a lot of different things you can apply for with FEMA. There's even some parts where you can apply for lost income for different city functions and things like that. But obviously the big one for us as a county is the overtime for EMS, for the Sheriff's Department, and any personnel that are already being paid overtime. We can apply for all of that through FEMA, obviously. And again, that's 75% of that money, and then hopefully the 12.5% from the state also. So we're on the hook for about 10% of everybody's overtime on that regard. FEMA also will cover lost resources if vehicles become damaged, having to purchase different things like some of the masks. There's a wide variety of things you can apply for FEMA, and it's just a matter of, like we've said before, it's like anything else. You've got to meet certain criteria and you've got to document it, and that's why for this motion I'd said by FEMA guidelines. So that way, if it's not documented properly, then they can't apply for it, and it's really simple. So I hope that protects us, in the sense that, or should at least let everybody understand that it protects us, that only what FEMA is going to allow is what we're going to apply for, as far as this motion goes. But for everything else, I would think we're applying for just about everything we possibly can as a county. Now, and Mayor Holt can hit on it a little more. We have the luxury, because we have municipalities within the county, that counts towards our total expenses paid. So you have to hit a number, I think it's 600,000 for your expenses before FEMA will start looking at paying things back, and we've already hit that by far with all the cities and everybody else included, and just the county's expenses, we're probably pretty close to it right now. So does that address the question, I hope?
Yeah, Commissioner Taylor, let me ask another question. So basically our hourly EMS workers, they're already getting overtime.
Oh, yes, sir. Everybody, our hourly workers, our EMS, our paramedics, our sheriff's deputies, our jailers, anybody working overtime related to this, and any overtime right now is related to this, better be, we're applying for FEMA for relief on that.
Anybody's working hourly.
Yes, sir. Yeah, everybody hourly is already making overtime in this situation. I mean, there's no way around it. We've had to staff too many different locations. The jailers are having to pull extra shifts because of a medical unit. So those personnel that want overtime, it's certainly there, and then the people that even don't want it are getting that too.
And let me clarify. Mr. Ring asked, can you tell us what the bottom line would be for us? My understanding is that it depends on how long this lasts.
Yes, sir.
That's why we set the resolution.
And that's why it was set at 100,000, because if it went on for 6 months, that might be the number. To be quite frank, I'm not sure what the number is going to be. It'll be when it's resolved and they start applying and we get the numbers. And I can absolutely report everything on that. And once we get all of the FEMA overall, that's something I think we can make public for the commission as a whole, so everybody understands how much money it did cost the county, and then how much of it we're actually going to be able to get back. Because sometimes we have the belief that we're going to get everything back, and we don't.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Mo Taylor.
Could I make a request?
Scott, I was in the queue.
Could this be included Sorry, Ms. Eccles, I didn't jump in front of.
I'm sorry, Ms. Eccles. I had you and I forgot. I apologize. We'll come to you next.
I apologize, Ms. Eccles. I didn't mean to get in front of you. But could, so we haven't applied for anything with FEMA yet.
They're applying, but it's a long process.
Could this be a standing report going forward under old business?
Absolutely.
Because, we apply for stuff, and I would just like to follow this money. On that money thing, it kind of relates a little bit. There's a lot of people out there that are applying, that small business owners, unemployment. If anybody has any connections with any of those people that's approving that stuff, help our citizens out, because they're just not, it's not helping. They're not getting it. I mean.
To make sure I'm right, I'm texting David right now to ask him, we want to include it as just an email report to everybody, or do we want it also read out each month at the commission? Full commission or budget?
Full.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you. Sorry, Ms. Eccles.
Ms. Eccles, I think you're in the queue. I apologize.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Sorry, Ms. Eccles.
Okay. I forgive you. I just have a couple of questions. How many employees are salaried and included in this resolution for up to $100,000? How many people are we talking about included in that?
Did you hear that, Commissioner?
Yes, sir. I apologize. Right now, it should be Mr. Widener, Chief Miller, and then also there's the deputy chiefs for EMS, Sam and Jay. Would both be considered salary for that. I'm trying to look and see. I think one of the people, five, yes, sir. I think it's 5 total. So it's not just those 2.
Okay, I guess my concern is, you read the articles about huge companies getting stimulus money and then paying a $500,000 bonus to executives, and I don't want the situation to read like that at the county level. So I was curious how many, and I'm chewing on that number. I'm wondering if it would be wise to stipulate a percentage of pay or a max amount per person or something like that to make this more comfortable. But
Ms. Eccles, that's actually already set by FEMA. And that's why I'm saying that for our motion that we go by FEMA guidelines, because FEMA will only let you apply for a certain percentage based upon their requirements and their guidelines. So that's what we're going to go by.
Okay.
Yeah, it's complete. Whatever FEMA lets us apply for and get reimbursed for, they can apply for. Anything other than that, we're not. If that covers it up.
Thank you. That helps me.
Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Chairman, many years ago, when most everyone in this room were children, except maybe Mr. Hinton, there was a newspaper editor in Gallatin who printed the salaries, individual salaries of people by name in the local Gallatin paper. It took pages of the paper. It was the editor of the paper. And it took pages and pages and pages, and it was very embarrassing to principals and teachers and everyone else. But saying all that, I'm not wanting to put anybody in an embarrassing situation, but since we have 5 people here and talking about the possibility of getting $20,000 each in overpay, possibly, I would like to have furnished to me, and I'm assuming it's public record, I'd like to have the salaries of those 5 people, if you would, Mr. Chairman, of those 5 people. I'd like to have what they're making now annually.
Mr. Hyde, should all be in the budget last year.
Old people don't keep everything they should, Mr. Chairman. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So just to summarize, I don't know if everybody could hear at the end. Mr. Hyde requested refer to a time when someone ran all the salaries of public employees in Sumner County in the newspaper. And so it's very embarrassing for teachers and principals and other city or other county officials, but what he would like, I think Commissioner Christos would get it taken care of for him, is to give him the salaries of 5 employees that are listed on the resolution for the overtime. Okay, Mr. Mansfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Let me go ahead. I'll chat.
So the budget chairman said that there was a 600,000 threshold to meet from FEMA, and I guess I think I heard it was stated that we might have already met that threshold or not. So how do we know, like, what is the qualifier for meeting that threshold? When you say that, how do I know that we've met that?
Mr. Widener and them have been keeping track for the most part of general numbers, so that way we kind of had a good idea, and I'll let Mr. Holt jump in if he needs to, but just different numbers we've got from our overtime for people that do get overtime, the expenses we've had, and then talking with Gallatin, Hendersonville, Goodlettsville, and everybody else that's applicable. Everybody's very confident the number is well past 600,000 already. So just general numbers, but like I said, we'll get a good report hopefully next month for everybody, and put it out there.
Okay, so you've already stated that basically that disaster cost reimbursement, it does require accurate and detailed records of the time and costs associated with all the actions. So are the municipalities providing that same detailed cost, and as far as keeping a track of detailed records, how are they providing that to the county, and how does that work?
Mr. Widener's coordinated with different ones, and I'm not going to say that they are for sure, but Mr. Mansfield, if they're not getting their money back. So I'm pretty confident that all of their finance directors are keeping very good records of it too. It'd be crazy not to. I can just give you the example from Metro, for the park police that we've got. We keep copies of their daily sheets, and it's just every day that they do it, just to make sure, so we can document not just what they did, where they did it, and how long they did it, how much it cost. And there's spreadsheets all over the place that'll have all that listed based on what FEMA requires and everything else. So like I said, when we start asking for documentation on it, I think it'll be ad nauseum, honestly, because that's usually how those FEMA stuff is. It's just reams and reams and reams of paper.
Is that handled from one central source given to the county, or is that handled individually by each municipality?
Well, they handle each municipality, will handle theirs. And Mr. Holt, please correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, or Mr. Hyde. They'll handle their own because they have their own reporting. They do their own finances and everything else separate from the county. Obviously, we'll report ours, and then any reimbursements will come through, obviously, the finance office.
So basically, this resolution is not dependent upon meeting a threshold necessarily if we feel we're already over that threshold. Is that correct?
Actually, because the motion says by FEMA guidelines, if for some reason we didn't hit the threshold, they couldn't apply for the overtime and they wouldn't get it then. So it's dependent on us being able to be reimbursed by FEMA. That's the fail-safe, is we make sure that whatever money they're going to be paid is something that FEMA would approve and would pay for. And if they're not, then they don't get it.
Okay, Mr. Goot and Mr. Hinton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm kind of personally, and I hope don't offend anybody here, kind of shocked of the conversation and the doubt that we're having at this juncture. I've been on this commission through numerous tornadoes, but 2 where people were killed, sadly, including 1 week that Mr. Widener first basically took over the situation he's in right now. If this would have been a tornado similar to the last 2 that destroyed parts of this county, we would be having emergency meetings to do what we're being asked to do and ask these guys to respond the way they've responded, which has been said is above and beyond. And there's 95 counties here. I can tell you from working for the federal government, from dealing with FEMA, putting it off a month to get in line behind the rest of the country in all 95 counties is not going to help our chances. If we didn't get the money, this would be money well spent. Again, if this were a tornado where people were dying, and the amount of people that have already died in this county and deathly sick, we would all be screaming to have emergency meetings to get it done what needs to be get done. I feel certain, and I'll end with this, I feel certain that if the evidence comes out that some seem to be worried about, that there's doubt of the figures, but that will obviously have to be documented, especially for FEMA, that it will be dealt with in the coming months. I feel beyond confident that won't happen. So I hope we will pass this and move on and let the first responders and emergency guys get back to their 90-hour weeks and so forth. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goodrich.
These situations are a little bit difficult to discuss because there's money and emotions all in one package, and that's hard to take a position on. I don't blame anybody for wanting to know that we are wise in the expenditure of money because that's high on the priority list for our job. I've listened to what everybody said, and I've become rather comfortable in the fact that there is going to be documents that we're going to know. This is not one of those things that we're going to push money into a pile, and that's the last we ever hear of it. And we hope it went to the right place, and we dotted all the I's and crossed the T's. So what I'd like to ask for is that this not be a piecemeal report when the report is finally finalized of what took place during this, that there would be a succinct report that you could pick up and say, here's what we done on this given night. We voted for this, and here is the results of that vote, that we provided this money. We did apply to FEMA. We met all that criteria, and when everything's sifted out, we spent X amount of dollars out of the local coffers, and we satisfied all the criteria. A lot of this stuff comes up and it's talked about, and it's not talked about anymore for a couple of months or 3 months or 6 months, and you almost don't remember all the details for the prerequisite of voting yes or no. So I'd just like to request or make it part of the motion, if it's what we need to do, that a final report can be handed to 24 commissioners, and they can refer to that if any questions that any of our constituents might ask about how we'd handled this money and what we've done on this particular situation. Documentation when it's over.
Yes, sir. I think we can do that. Okay, Mr. Holt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to give you a few facts. The threshold for Sumner County is about $640,000. That includes all cities. We have met that threshold. Through EMA, Ken Widener is keeping up with those numbers. That includes all the cities and the county. Now, these are monies that the federal government is going to pay up to 75%. They're going to reimburse us. It'll take a while to get the money, so you've got to cash flow it. But these are monies that we've paid into the federal government that they're giving back to locals in response to fight this virus. Now, let me tell you how serious it's been in Sumner County. You don't always keep up with it, and I understand that's not your job. Today, there was over 500 cases reported in Sumner County. But here's the real shocker. We had one person pass away this weekend. We have 31 deaths. We are leading the state in deaths. For our size, our population, that's shocking. Now, let me tell you what we're burning the money through. For personal protection equipment, we're burning through that like Grant took Richmond. That is an old saying my grandfather used to say. But the bottom line is this. It's costing a lot of money, and I totally agree with one statement that a commissioner made here. So our frontline people need to be paid, because we've already had 3 people from EMS contract the virus. We have even rented hotel space to keep them out of the hospital, be cost effective, to quarantine workers where they don't take it home to their family and spread this virus. So this is a very expensive endeavor. But to say that just because these people that are salaried, and they're not making $100,000 a year, they're not making close to that, shouldn't be compensated for the extraordinary amount of hours that they worked, I don't see the justification in that. And to say that we're taking money away from citizens, that is totally erroneous. Because if it wasn't for these first responders, and I'm going to include all of them, EMT, law enforcement, fire, everybody's a first responder. A lot of these seniors, because over 70% of the people who've died in Sumner County are 65 years and older in age. They wouldn't have to be worried about where their next meal is going to come from, because they would be dead. Because this virus is for real, it's serious. My wife works at a hospital, and a lot of these people on ventilators, they never come off the ventilator until they pronounce them dead, and even their family can't go see them. So, you know, I think we're having a discussion about being thrifty in a time it's not raining, it's a hurricane, it's pouring on us. And what value do you put on life? And that has nothing to do with paying overtime, but it has a lot to do with keeping these people dedicated and working and making sure, you understand it, Commissioner, that if you're a first responder, you took an oath when you took that office, and you're going to get out and do your best. But those people have families too, and they're at risk, and they need to be compensated. And I think it's justifiable. I understand if you're the CEO of TVA and you're making, you know, over $1 million a year, you're getting money, you're getting a bonus. That's not justified. These are people who are worker bees like the rest of us, and they're not making these exorbitant salaries. So I want you to keep that in mind. I do appreciate the discussion about being frugal and using taxpayers' monies wisely, but this is when government steps in. When there's a crisis, the only person's left is government. It's the only entity left to respond. That's the only friend our citizens have, because there's no profit to be made from this. There's no money to be made, and there's no glamour in this. This is putting your own life on the line, whether you're in medical professional or you're a first responder, to try to save lives. So I just want to kind of put the discussion in perspective. So this is not about just money. This is about protecting the people that we love, our friends and neighbors, our relatives, our seniors. So thank you for letting me speak. And I encourage you, no matter what you do, to support all of our first responders. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. No one else in the queue? Commissioner Foster, I'm sorry I missed yours a minute ago about calling the question. I apologize. I'm trying to manage watching the floor, watching the screen, and watching the chat function on Zoom, so I apologize for that. There's no one else in the queue, so let's vote.
Commissioner Mo Taylor? Commissioner Wright? Commissioner Gumenden?
Mr. Gumenden, you were muted.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Hinton? Commissioner Driver?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Shell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ring?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley?
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Commissioner Hyde? Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Good?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
I think she's off right now. I think she got knocked off.
Okay. Commissioner Langford?
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield?
No.
Commissioner Guthrie?
He's a yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes, sir.
With 18 affirmative votes, resolution is approved.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kent. Commissioner Chris Taylor, back to you.
Yes, sir. 2004-04 is appropriating up to $36,351.35 to the state inmate medical reimbursement to the budget of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. I so move.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Shell. I see no one in the queue. Before we vote, Commissioner Taylor, are any of these others passed?
I'm wondering if we had to do them separate because it was separate months, but I would, if it's okay, make the motion to group and approve if everyone's 2004-05, which is appropriating $37,347.96 of state inmate medical reimbursements to the budget of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. We didn't have a meeting that month, so we've got 2 months, if that's okay to group and approve those.
Okay.
And I don't see Ms. Denham jumping up and down. I think we're okay.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded to group and approve 2004-04 and 05. All right, I see no one in the queue. Let's vote.
Commissioner Mo Taylor? Commissioner Wright? Commissioner Gamindon?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton? Commissioner Driver?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
He was a yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Shell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ring?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley?
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde? Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
He was a yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Good?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
She's not.
Commissioner Kruger passed. Commissioner Langford?
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Guthrie?
He's a yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes, sir.
22 affirmative votes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. Commissioner Chris Taylor.
Yes, sir. 2004-06 is appropriating $300,000 from general fund, unassigned fund balance for medical and dental services cost pool. This is to help offset the insurance as people change it and claim family compared to single. I so move.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Shell. Commissioner Mo Taylor.
Will this be a reoccurring budget item? And I mean, how did we miss it by this much?
It just, what it boils down to, Mo, is when people change their claims or change their status during the year. So if they get married, if they have a child, those are all actions that allow you to change your status from single to family. And so then our costs start going up dramatically once people go to families, obviously. But
So not enough fell off, more came on than fell off.
I would love to say we won't have any again next year, but I can't make people all pick single either.
Well, could we not pad it, but
David does build, we've thought about trying to build a buffer in there before, but then the concern is you don't want to overfund it if we don't need it. So we've tried to just stick along. And that's why when we said for this year, the zero budgets we're going for, we expect that there will be some increases in individual budgets of elected department heads based on just their insurance reclassifications when people change their going from single to family, that it's going to make their budget go up. And that's something they can't control.
well, you know how I watch the pennies, and that's a half a penny.
All right, there's no one else in the queue. Let's vote.
Commissioner Mo Taylor? Commissioner Wright? Commissioner Gamindon?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton?
Ms. Kruger.
Commissioner Driver?
Ms. Kruger needs back in.
Commissioner Driver?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Is that, yes, Commissioner Graves?
Yes, he's saying yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Shell? Yes. Commissioner Ring?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt?
Witt is a yes.
Commissioner Tinsley?
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde? Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Good?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger? Commissioner Langford?
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield? Commissioner Guthrie?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes, sir.
22 affirmative votes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And I think Ms. Kruger is a yes. She just got back in.
23 affirmative votes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor.
Unless there's any objections from any other commissioners, I'm going to ask for group and approve on 2004-07, 2004-08. The first one is for appropriating $70,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance for jail food supplies. And the second is for appropriating $97,375 from capital projects local restricted fund balance for jail lighting. The food supplies is obviously self-explanatory. The jail lighting is one we've been working on slowly over the past year or so. What happens is inmates will break out the overhead lights and then use shards for different items. And we've started slowly, as they broke them out, replacing them with unbreakable ones that meet more of the guidelines. And this is the last part that should finish it off. I so move on both of those.
Second.
Yes. I'm not getting anything from Ms. Denham, so I think we're okay on that.
Okay. So we've got a motion by Commissioner Chris Taylor. Raise your hand if you seconded that.
All good.
Mr. Witt had the second. Okay, I see no one in the queue, so let's vote.
Commissioner Mo Taylor? Commissioner Wright? Commissioner Govinden?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton? Commissioner Driver?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
He's saying yes.
He's a yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Shell? Commissioner Ring?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley?
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde? Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Good?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
He's a yes.
Commissioner Langford?
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield? Commissioner Guthrie?
He's a yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes, sir.
23 votes in favor.
Okay. Mr. Kent, Ms. Kruger would also like to be marked down as a yes on 2004-03. Okay, Mr. Taylor.
All right, next one is 2004-09. This is appropriating up to $67,890 from the general fund unassigned fund balance for part-time personnel hired to assist with the COVID pandemic. And these were personnel that were hired initially to help with logistics and some of the first part. When I say first part, I mean that first wave of problems that came in. And whether they will be kept on later on is for the budget for them to try and figure out on their own. But for right now, this is to pay for the salaries of where we've got them right now. And if Mr. Holt needs to, I'm sorry, if County Mayor Holt needs to expound, he can probably go a little bit more if we need to. I so move, sorry.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor. Need a second. Second by Commissioner Good. Commissioner Mo Taylor, you're in the queue.
Transfer from one county line item to the other. Very little detail, but in the detail that I did notice, it didn't tell me how many. Also in that detail, it said that
Retirement. under, as one of the benefits under that. I wasn't aware that part-time temporary employees were eligible for retirement.
One of the employees that Chief Miller brought in was for an open position he had. So he's filling that position. But the other part-time was under Mr. Widener. And as far as benefits, if they're working more than 19 hours, then they get benefits. So they were hired part-time, but I believe they're working full-time right now.
All right, Commissioner Mansfield.
How many employees part-time?
Go ahead. I thought it was 2, but I was going to check with Mayor Holt, and it is 2.
All right, there's no one else in the queue. Anyone out there in Zoom land? Commissioner Graves.
How many employees did Commissioner Taylor say?
He said, I'm sorry, he said it again.
How many part-time employees?
How many part-time employees? 2.
Yes, sir.
2, Mr. Graves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right, let's vote.
Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Gomendon.
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
Yes.
Commissioner Graves.
He's a yes.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell.
Yes.
Commissioner Ring.
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley.
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles.
She's a yes on chat.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger.
She's a yes.
Commissioner Langford.
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield. Commissioner Guthrie.
He's a yes.
Commissioner Nipper.
Yes, sir.
Resolution is approved with 20 affirmative votes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. Commissioner Chris Taylor.
Yes, sir. This is the last one. So before I do, I want to stress 1 or 2 things I almost forgot about. When we said zero budget, there was a question about the volunteer fire. We're going to fund them at the same levels we funded them last year, just because I'm sure that will come up a little bit later, but just to make sure everyone is aware that they're going to be covered at least those same levels we had last year. I know some of them had reached out already because they're having some issues with their funding based on some of the things that have been going on. All right, last one is 2004-10, appropriating up to $110,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance for quarantine sites during the COVID pandemic. What happened was initially, as we had employees that came in contact with COVID people, they were concerned that if they went home, some of them had high-risk parents that stayed with them, high-risk children, or different situations that they didn't want to run the risk of infecting those people. So the county mayor and EMS worked it out where we actually got a hotel that we could keep them in separate quarters. And so what we've been doing, it was $52,000 for March, $52,000 for April. I believe that's right. And then, I'm sorry, 55, since it's 110, I apologize. And what we've done is, as we've had employees that have come in contact with positive people, they had the option of going there rather than going home, so that way they didn't have to worry about infecting their families. Now, obviously, if they stayed there, the county also was supplementing them with meals and trying to take best care we could of them. And then once they became negative, they were able to return back to work and return back home. We have had some obviously county employees that were positive, and they stayed the quarantine time out at the hotel, so that way they wouldn't endanger anyone in their family. So in that regard, we've been able to take care of our people as best we could. I think it's a really important situation that I so move.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Wright. I see no one in the queue. Let's vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on, Mr. Mansfield.
How many people have stayed in the hotel for the rentals, you said?
Been quarantined?
I'm going to go to Mr. Holt.
As far as numbers, I can't tell you exactly, but I do know this has been jailers from the sheriff's office. This has been EMTs, paramedics. This has been a whole slew of people. Sheriff's deputies that had to be quarantined. And remember, these are non-critical patients, so even if they had the virus, they were able to stay by themselves and not be hospitalized. So it's much, much cheaper than going to any facility, hospital, any other place. And of course, with all due respect to our first responders, we don't want them to take it home and get a loved one sick, whether it's their parents or family or child. So this is about the only thing we could do and the very most cost-effective thing we could do.
Mr. Mayor, the numbers changed at times because, like I said, I know at one point we had 8 paramedics that from one call all had to go there. And so some of them were there for 2 or 3 days, some of them there were for a little bit longer. I'm not positive. We can find out how many rooms were used each day if y'all want to do that. But regardless, we had to rent the facility, and it was since there was a risk that people might be COVID positive because they're staying there since they had contact with COVID people. We rented out the floor of the facility so nobody else would be able to use it.
Yeah. And that's just the way we had to do it. We had to negotiate it. Because we couldn't just rent it room by room because this had to be separate from the other patrons in the hotel.
Currently, there are 9 rooms occupied.
Thank you, sir.
So, the senior commissioner from the 10th district brought up a good point earlier, just to help me understand the process. So I'm just curious on, could we have done an emergency called meeting to approve a request of this beforehand versus after, like as far as doing it in this type of situation? I mean, would that not be customary as well?
And realistically, no, and the reason I say that is, I'll just give you a general example. It's a call at 11 o'clock at night. They come up and they drop the patient off at the hospital. Hospital calls back, says, hey, whoever's on that engine call, it was COVID positive. Or they're telling us they're COVID positive. So everybody that was involved now is there. Now, if they've gone back to hopefully we've caught them before they've gone back to the station, where are you going to send them? Well, they came up with a very viable solution in a really quick time of working out Mayor Holt did to get the hotel for us. Could we have done it a next day? We've already spent the money. We've already had to get an agreement to pay for that. And County Mayor Holt did address that as quick as he could the next day. As the budget chairman, he called me, let me know, hey, this is an expense we've had to do. So I got with Mr. Long. We immediately put it on the agenda for the next budget meeting. But regardless, we had to do it. It wasn't an option where we couldn't have put those, we didn't have anywhere to put those employees until we could have an emergency meeting to approve the money. So he did make notification to me immediately that within 12 hours. And what I told him was that we would put it on the budget committee, but obviously we have to do what we have to do in those kind of situations.
Very rarely do I ever do anything like that, but I have statutory right to do emergency expenditures. It's just the way it's got to be. If you didn't have that, we would be in a very, very dangerous, precarious situation because that means that you'd have to have a full body agree to something before you actually spent the money. I don't like doing that. I rarely do that, but I think that's the way the state set this up, and I think that's valid and important. And I always will confer with our budget chairman and our county commission chairman, whomever that may be, when I'm going to do that, because frankly, we have no choice. We've got to protect our personnel, because if we don't protect our personnel, we can't respond.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. Commissioner Wright has not been in the queue, and then Commissioner Taylor, I'll come back to you. Commissioner Wright?
Most of you know where I work my full-time job. It's not a secret. I'm proud of it. Very proud of it. I work with men and women who have stayed in these motel rooms because they didn't want to take this home to their family, to their children. I know the EMS workers who stayed in these motel rooms. Folks, and I'm speaking from personal experience. I've told y'all before, some of you, I haven't walked in your shoes, the old saying, Mr. Hinton. I have walked in those shoes, ladies and gentlemen. If you are going to ask these men and women, EMA, EMS, and your first responders to put their lives on the line, the least we can do is take care of them whenever something bad happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Commissioner Mo Taylor.
Yes, sir. I echo the comments that my fellow commissioner just made, but as all the information that we received here tonight, or a lot of the information that we received here tonight would have better helped me make a decision before we got here tonight, had it been included in our packet. And I just respectfully ask that as much information as we can going forward be included in these packets, because, you know, the packet, I don't think the general public has access to the total packet of the commission meeting, so they just hear and see what we're talking about here. But, you know, it was a one page, other than the written resolution was just to transfer it from one accounting code to the other accounting code.
Commissioner Taylor, would it help, you think, if we just ask him, and I'll ask Mr. Carey tomorrow, that we put a direct link to the Budget Committee video and the Zoom we did, and then also the minutes themselves, because that's where we discussed it all, so that way it'd be included. I'm just saying.
No, what I'm talking about is there's a contract that the county mayor entered into a contract with XYZ Hotel Motel.
Okay, I follow you.
Here's, you know, documentation. Are we paying $500 a night, or are we paying $50 a night? And you see what I'm saying? Just, that's pertinent information to have to make a vote on, in my opinion. So without all the pertinent information, it's hard for me to make a decision. I respect what the cause was for, and I admire it, but, you know, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hinton.
I just want
Last
to make
in
an
the queue.
announcement before we leave. I don't want to speak on this.
Okay, let's vote. There's no one else in the queue.
Commissioner Mo Taylor. Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Gomenden.
Yes.
Commissioner Hinton. Commissioner Driver.
Yes.
Commissioner Graves.
Yes.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell.
Yes.
Commissioner Ring.
Yes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsley.
Yes.
Commissioner Eccles.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyde. Commissioner Tucker.
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger.
She's a yes. Sorry.
Commissioner Langford.
Yes.
Commissioner Mansfield.
Yes.
Commissioner Guthrie.
Yes.
He's a yes. Oh, we got him back.
Commissioner Nipper.
Yes, sir.
22 affirmative votes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Mr. Hinton.
Thursday at the BP station in Portland, there's some people raised some money, and the nurses, the frontline nurses. Now I don't know how to end this category or broaden it too broad, but if they show up at the BP station, they'll get a free fill up until the money runs out. So just some guy got this started, and all of a sudden he had $1,200–1,500. So if the frontline nurses want to drop by the BP in Portland, they get a free tank of gas.
That's wonderful. Thursday, which gas station is it, Mr.?
This Thursday.
Where at, Mr. Hinton?
BP in Portland.
BP in Portland.
Yep.
Any nursing medical professionals can get a free tank of gas. VBP in Portland. Behind Volunteer State
Yeah,
Bank?
that's right, yeah. It's the one right in the middle of town.
Hey, and before I take the last motion, I do want to say, you know, it made me really proud. As sad and tragic an event as it was, the nights that we had to evacuate folks from the nursing home, I was so proud of our county mayor, Mayor Gallatin, Mr. Widener, and Chief Miller for the stance that they took and the work that they did. So I just want to, from the chair, I want to commend you. I want to commend y'all for the work that you did. So, thank y'all. Motion to adjourn?
Yep.
We're adjourned.